Hey everyone. Thank you, Jeff. Can you hear us? I can hear me. Hey everyone. Thank you, Jeff.
So,
can you hear us? Hi guys.
How's it going? We are waiting for our guests to get in right now, and then we're just testing a few things at the moment.
Okay.
I don't know what you want to do with this dialogue.
Okay.
So, but today is a coach and consultant. Businesses grow. Obviously, he works with people that are in the VP, president, or in the C executive level department. And one of the things that Marissa told me today is that he can help you find your soulmate in 120 days. And I'm curious to see what that means, because I'm 32, not married.
So you might be an ideal client. We'll talk about that. It seems to me there's some technical difficulties. So let us, I'm just going to see if he's going to come on. But yes, he's going to rejoin. He just had to go out and then rejoin. So we'll definitely talk about that.
I can definitely help you on how to get rid of your soulmate in 120 days.
Oh my God. I don't know if that's the goal.
I'm just saying, like, come to me if you want to break up.
Oh my gosh.
Hire Jeff if you want to find your soulmate.
All right, Jeff is coming in right now. Looks like he's setting up his camera. So he'll be joining in a little bit. When he's ready, it looks like he's almost ready. Look, we can see you. All right, we're going to put you on.
All right.
Oh, there you are.
There we am.
All right.
I'm just going to lower this, make it better.
Awesome. Thank you.
Can you really?
Yes. Let me take this off.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So how are you doing?
Good. How are you? Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Exactly.
Yeah. So I was briefly discussing to some people viewing right now that Marissa told me that you can help people find their soulmate in 120 days. And I was telling people that I can help them get rid of their soulmate in 120 days.
That is an interesting story. So I can definitely share about that if you want to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, so officially, I would like to welcome you, Jeff, to our show. You are an international business consultant, high performance coach, and best-selling author. So welcome to Business AM Live.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. So, you have, obviously those 3 titles where we want to highlight most of them. But I think what I really want to get into, at least in the beginning, is your coaching, because I think a lot of business owners are, they hear about high performance coaches. They don't really know what that means. They just, and really, I would like to hear from you and your words. What is high performance coaching, and who would be ideal for something like that?
Yeah, so I'm a certified high performance coach, and that's a certification I got through the Institute of High Performance, and that institute did studies across multiple countries, millions of people, over 300 indicators that they measured, and they were looking for commonalities that were there between high performers, and not only just high performers, but like consistently high performers year after year. So they interviewed people like Olympic athletes, CEOs, top salespeople, whatever field they were in, they had to be at the top, and they had to consistently be at the top. And what they did is they discovered that there is some elements that were in common between all of those, And those are the elements that I teach. And so it's important that, you know, those are being the foundation of everything that you need. And, you know, that's everything like productivity, influence, your clarity and focus, and energy is very, you know, your physiology and psychology, very important. And so all of my training is a curriculum training. And that's another thing that's a little bit different in like coaching is I'm based off of a curriculum. It's not like traditional coaching. Traditional coaching is more, you know, asking questions. How's your day? What are you focusing on? You know, where are you stuck? Let me help you through that. Why don't you do this? What do you think you should do? All those things is traditional coaching. My coaching is more through a curriculum. So take it like going to school. You know, there's a set number of principles, because if you do those things, then your performance level will level up, and then you know, you'll get higher results.
Right. So go ahead.
And how should you charge for those type of services?
So I have a couple different ways. So I have group coaching. So I can do large groups just to scale down the pricing of it. And then my one-on-one coaching is at that $24,000 a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So it definitely sounds like something that, you know, it's definitely an investment in yourself, and it's not like I'm going to go to a weekend workshop and be automatically done.
Yeah, exactly.
Something, over time. So who would be like an ideal person that would be, I mean, I feel like everyone wants to be better and get to that next level, but like, I don't know if the people that are ready to want to do that have that fund, you know, or that amount of extra income to be able to pay you. So who is like the ideal person that you would coach?
Well, I think you hit it on the nose. Yes, it kind of fits everyone, because everybody kind of wants to level up, right? I mean, isn't that the whole thing, is you want to take wherever you're at now and kick it up another notch? And I think a lot of people are like that. And that's why I do more of my group coaching, to make it more feasible for more people to do that. On my one-on-one level, it's really people that are business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, that like they have a way to considerably make a lot more money. So I'll give you an example. You know, I work with some financial advisors, and you know, helping them could mean, you know, $20,000 per client, you know, recurring every year for as long as they have them. So that could be, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And so, so that kind of gives you a little scale from it. But usually it's someone that's stuck, or they just really have plateaued in their results, or they have a slight increase, and they're really not like sure. It's kind of like losing weight, right? It's kind of like that last 10 pounds. You're like, I just can't get rid of that last 10 pounds. That's really that kind of next level I can take you to.
And have you ever encountered a situation where someone seemed to have the qualities that were ready to take this next step and level up, and then it just doesn't work out? Like have you ever said no to someone?
Yeah, yes, many times. They've got to be motivated. Like they've got to be committed to following the process. They can't be just like testing. Well, okay, do your magic, put your magic wand to me, and you know, get me those results. It really has to be someone that's 100% committed to you know going full out and following and trusting the process. And a lot of times, not everybody's open to that. Some people don't want to be vulnerable, you know, and really share what's really there and what's holding them back. And so when that happens, it's just not a good fit. I'll suggest either doing my group, where they kind of sit back and let someone else be vulnerable, and at the same time kind of listen in and kind of absorb the knowledge and do whatever they want to do with that knowledge. Or, but they truly have to be vulnerable and open to really pushing themselves to that next level. And accountability is key. I mean, like, I'm going to hold them accountable, and they got to want accountability. So
Right, exactly.
So you can almost coach anyone. Doesn't really have to be a business, correct?
doesn't have to be a business. No. You could easily be just someone that, like, I've coached stay-home moms, and they're just really, feel like they have no adult life. They feel like they're always giving to their kids and never actually giving to something for themselves. So they're all about give, and then they feel like they don't get anything because they don't allow it. So things like that, we start to go through the high performance curriculum, and then they start to open up and see, oh wow, what if I did this? And then they start to open up into doing those actions, and it completely transforms their relationship with their kids and their family and so on. So I mean, everybody has different levels, for that particular thing.
Yeah, so that's really awesome. I think, especially for stay-at-home moms, I've met a few, and they're just kind of lost. It's not, it's flashy to be like, oh, I get to stay home and just be a mom and not do anything. But I think there's just there's no purpose. I mean, aside from caring for their kids, there's no purpose there.
Yeah, they do. They lose that purpose, and they lose the daily intention. So another thing in high performance is really creating intentions for the moments. So are you living a life in intentions, or are you just living a life unconsciously going through the motions each day? Like, did you set an intention for this podcast, for example, or did you just say, all right, let's just see what happens and go from there?
Yeah.
It's like, it's purposeful. Just like when you guys sent those questions to me, it's purposeful, because it gives you a foundation of where you want your intentions to go. And, parents need that too, and most of the time they don't do that, right? They get lost with laundry and cleaning and whatever it is.
So when you're, for example, working with a new client that's heard of you somehow, what is your onboarding process?
So first off, you would go through a one-on-one meeting with me, completely complimentary. And that meeting is to just discover whether it's a good fit for us to work together, or if I should just give you some good homework to go do for yourself that's going to allow you to, move to that next level where you are ready to work with a high performance coach. So, and that's a pretty intense, it's like 1 hour. So it's pretty intense.
Yeah. And I think that's, even if people are not ready for that, they'll know after that call. If they're not ready.
Yeah. And I totally suggest, like, do that call. I mean, that call is definitely worth every penny of the time that I'm going to give you. I mean, I have over 25,000 hours of working with business owners and people through barriers that are holding them back in life.
Right.
So wherever you're at, that call, my whole intention for that call, just so you know, is to empower you to go way beyond your belief and to really live a life of endless possibilities. So I'm looking at how can I deliver that through that conversation of getting to know each other and finding out if we're a good fit.
Right.
Perfect.
I think that sounds similar to other discovery processes, but I think you probably hit on some vulnerabilities in that conversation too. Oh
yeah, we definitely get personal, and because, like I said, if they don't want to get personal about it, then it's just not a good fit. There's some other things that I could suggest them to do and so on that eventually will open that up.
Yeah, right. So I have a question, and we can talk about this actually because Valentine's Day is coming up, and your story of meeting your wife, and the this whole coaching thing. Like, how did you transition into what I would call, I mean, I know you, in another sense, but what I call you is like a love coach, like a soulmate coach. You now do this for other people. How did that transition happen?
It's a funny story. It truly is, because I never would have thought, if you would have told me, 15 years, oh yeah, you're going to be a love coach, or I think of that, and that's what you're going to help people do, is find their soulmate, or what was that movie with Hitch?
Yeah.
If you would have told me any of that, I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, that's exactly what I envisioned. No, not at all. But it happened one day when I was coaching one of my clients in Australia. So I was working with him on the phone, and he was kind of in a dark place in his business. Like, he felt stuck. He felt like his business was hopeless. He wasn't getting any of his best clients, or what I like to call ideal clients. And I remember him getting done telling me this, all this where he's, stuck and everything. And I said, well, you can do this. And I gave him confidence to do it. And he said, well, how would you do it, Jeff? And so I just walked him through, and I walked him through these 5 key areas that I would do. Mm-hmm. I told him, here's how you're going to do it. If you drop ship me in Sydney, this is what I would do first. And this, I'd do this, and then I'd do this, and then you got this. Before you know it, I'd have ideal clients, and I'd be way ahead of you. And you're already there, so, you could probably get a head start before I catch a plane and fly out there. And he laughed, but he got off the phone, and he was like, in action. He was alive again. He didn't feel sad. He was like really in action. He had tons of energy. I hung up the phone, and I have a mirror when I coach in front of me, and I looked at the mirror, and I was like, man, that was some really good advice. And we probably all had these moments, right? You're looking at yourself, or you're saying to yourself, and it's like, that was some good advice. I should probably take that advice.
Yeah.
And that's the epiphany I had. I was like, man, I really got it. And as a coach, it's no integrity if you're just telling but not doing yourself. Right. So for me, it was an integrity issue, and I was like, well, where could I implement that advice? Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was single, and I was really hiding out, but I truly did want a relationship. I kept telling people, oh yeah, I'm looking for that special person, but I got I got too busy with work, and when the right person comes, but deep down inside, I really knew I kind of gave up on the whole process, kind of like my client was. And so I was just like, all right, I've got to take on finding my soulmate. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that triggered it for me, right, was that.
Yeah. So how did you find your soulmate? Or first of all, what's the definition of a soulmate, and then how did you find that?
Yeah, a soulmate to me is, I mean, there's so many different ways people call it. It could be your ideal partner, it could be that significant other, it could be your wife or your husband that you want. It could be, the one. That was kind of one of the things I used to say. I used to say the soulmate or the one. I'm looking for the woman of my dreams, was another way I described it a lot. But truly, it's that person that you're meant to be with for the rest of your life. Right. And for me, that's what started it, And so I did exactly what I told my clients. So I said, okay, just like you guys started with me, who is that ideal client that you're looking for, or who's that ideal client that works best? Mm-hmm. Did the same thing. I layered out, and got complete clarity and focus on exactly who I was looking for in the woman of my dreams. Right. And I know to keep those very short, but to have no more than 5 or less, because if you do, it's easier to find that than it is to have your big long list that everybody kind of talks to you about, right? So you're like, make your big list out and, see if you can, by the time you kind of go through it all, you never find the right person, right? So I take that big list and narrow it down to 5 key bullets. And then basically, I believe I'm old school. So I didn't like apps, or I didn't like, the online dating. I tried them, and I just found them more of a waste of my time. And so I ended up just doing old school referral, so I believe in people introducing people to others. And so I went to my community who knows me very well. I shared with them, my top 5 qualities and attributes that I was looking for in my soulmate. And then I just asked them, I said, who do you know that fits that? And I went on 43 dates in 120 days, all by introductions from my community and friends.
Wow.
That's a big budget.
Yeah.
I found that out. That's one of the lessons I definitely teach right away is, like I said, I'm old school. So I like to take a woman out, have dinner, pay for it, all that. And that lasted about 2 weeks until I realized this is very expensive. I made the transition to coffee very, very quickly.
Right. This, you talked about the 5 things. This actually brings up a question I wanted to ask, and you kind of answered it in terms of you were looking for 5 things, but doing this work and doing all the 43 dates and all that, is your wife the woman you envisioned, or is there only, was it exactly what you were looking for? Or what?
Yeah. So this is probably another thing that makes me unique in my coaching is I don't believe there's compromise in your top 5 qualities and attributes. So, I mean, if it's not all 5, then I think that you can make it work, because I was very good at that from my past relationships, whether it was a week, a month, a year, few years. I could make that work, but eventually I just got fed up of compromising. And so I think a lot of divorces and everything typically happen that way. They've compromised for so many years, and then they get fed up with that. And it wasn't natural because they had to compromise that. And so I call them your 5 deal breakers. And if they just don't hit that, I never went on a date unless they met all 5 qualities and attributes. That was crucial. Even if it was 4, I didn't go out on a date. I would say all 4 to the person that introduced me, and then I'd say the 5th one that they'd go, yeah, that's definitely not her. And I would say, yeah, it doesn't sound like a good fit. Who else do you know?
Right.
So, and I believe the other person, and this is why you got to date a lot, is I believe the other person has their top 5. And I believe they don't really, some of them probably, I would bet most of them didn't do the work that I did to come up with my top 5. So in that first date, it's kind of exploring and getting them to discover what their top 5 are, so that you can find out, are you a fit of that or not?
Yeah, so you got to the point really quickly.
There's none of this chit chat, whatever. I really wanted meaningful relations, and I was truthful with women. Like I said, I'm out to look for the woman of my dreams, and I'd love to go have coffee with you and just kind of get to know you and so on. So if they thought that was like too rushing, then definitely wasn't a good fit.
Right.
Because one of my qualities was to have a family in the next 2 to 3 years. So if they were already like, I'm not ready for a relationship, or I don't, it was clear to me. It was like, yeah, that's perfectly okay. Just, I'm not a good fit for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So
from the coaching with the soulmate coaching and the love and all that, you went on to write a book about it. right?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about your best-selling book and who is it for?
Yeah. So for years, people would, that were single would say, "Oh, how'd you meet your wife?" And I would tell them the story on how I went on 43 dates in 120 days. And the other thing I didn't share with you, and this is kind of interesting, but I purchased 2 fully paid cruise tickets for me and the woman of my dreams, not knowing who she was. So I did that in March.
Yeah. He didn't know her name or anything.
Nothing. And so I was buying these cruise tickets for 2 people that really I couldn't afford. Like if I was with my accountant, he'd be like, "No, you're not doing that." But I did because one of the things I teach is you got to have a big goal, and you've really got to have something that's either pulling you towards that goal, or, usually you can do a negative reward or a positive reward. And so for me, I was all about positive. I was like, I'm going on a cruise. And the negative reward was money, because the other thing I said to my community of people was, if I don't have her by that time frame, then I won't go on the cruise, or I'll go on the cruise, but I'll go on the cruise by myself and she'll be on the cruise. So I'd pay for 2 and just go with myself. So I wasn't going to compromise again just to bring someone, because I'm sure I could have found many people that would be more than willing to go on a 7-day cruise in the Caribbean, fully paid for,
Right.
So anyhow, so I did that. And so anyway, I tell my story all the time to single people, and they go, "Oh my gosh, you should write a book about that. Oh, that's a great movie." And they went on and on and on. And I always go, "Oh yeah, whatever, yes." And then I'm the type of person that I don't like to read. I don't like, let alone be an author. So I'll listen to audiobooks, but I wasn't thinking, "Oh yeah, I need to write a book." So anyhow, one day I was just challenged and again confronted, like I should probably take my own advice. And it was like, why am I being stingy and holding back, giving this to the world when I have something that really works, especially for people that are business owners, because they can relate to it very easy when it comes to finding their own ideal client, let alone finding love.
Right. So they can get that book from your website.
Yeah, they can go to my website. There's a link to buy the book there, or you can just go directly to Amazon. The book is called The 5th Power for Relationships, and that's the 5 key secret powers to finding your soulmate. Taking notes down there?
Yeah.
And some other thing too is I have a Facebook page too that people are more than willing to go to, and it's called the Find Your Soulmate in 120 Days. And I do free coaching and training on there. There's going to be live videos I like to do in February, right before Valentine's, so that people can, stay focused on, finding their soulmate.
Yeah, I'll put that up on the screen. So if anyone's looking at the replay, they can definitely check it out. So before we wrap up here, one of the things that we do is ask a random question just to get to know you and lighten up the mood at the end. And Chris is going to take that question.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
What is your spirit animal and why is it that?
What is my spirit animal and why is it that? Let's see. That's a good question. I would think, I've never really thought of that. Nice way to stump me. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of my qualities and how I would match that to that. Let's see.
You can make up the animal.
It could be like a liger.
Well, I'm just trying to think. It's almost like I would say like a mother lion, you know, because a mother lion really takes care of those people that are close, like their cubs.
Yeah.
And they're also the hunter, you know, so they're also the driver that goes out and, you know, makes things happen for the family.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to describe me is, you know, I have that mother feature. You know, it's that love-hate relationship as a coach and as a father and as a husband. And then there's also, you know, that other side of me that, you know, I'll do anything whatsoever to make that happen.
Right.
So.
Right. That's a good answer. Very good answer. So thank you again for joining us on Business AF. If people want to connect with you, or they can sign up for a free consultation on your website at jeffkrahl.com. And we really appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. All right, guys. Have a great day.
Have a good day.